You ever get that feeling you're just swimming in information, but you feel like you're missing the real point?
Exactly, like give me the shortcut to understanding the important stuff, especially for living a bit more thoughtfully, resourcefully.
Yeah, like you just want someone to boil it down.
Well, that's kind of what we're aiming for today. We're diving deep into permaculture. And look, it's way more than just tips for your garden. It's really a whole system for designing sustainable ways of living.
And we're going straight to the source for this one, Bill Mollison's work, especially his big book, Permaculture, a designer's manual. Think of it as a fast track, a way into this way of thinking that can really change how you see your home, your community, your impact. It's holistic, designing systems that work with nature, not against it.
Exactly, so our mission here, for you listening, is to pull out the core ideas from Mollison's framework.
And it really stands on two main legs, doesn't it?
It does. First, there's this solid ethical foundation, and second, a whole toolkit of really practical design principles.
So by the end of this, the idea is you'll have a good grip on these foundational concepts.
Yeah, hopefully some real food for thought, maybe, a fresh angle on how you interact with the world. Okay, let's get into it, starting with those core ethics. Okay, so the ethical foundation, there are three main pillars here. First up, care of the earth.
Right. And this isn't just like sorting your recycling, is it?
Not at all. Mollison meant it really broadly. It covers all life systems, living, non-living, the whole deal. Like, what specifically? Well, soils, obviously, all the species, the atmosphere, forests, tiny microhabitats, animals, water, everything.
Wow. And the goal isn't just, keeping them around. It's about their continuation and multiplication, flourishing.
The key insight there seems to be that a healthy planet underpins absolutely everything else.
Precisely. You can't have healthy people without a healthy earth.
Which leads perfectly into the second ethic, care of people.
Yeah, this one feels pretty direct. It's about making sure everyone has access to what they need for a decent existence.
Like food, shelter.
Food, shelter, education, work that feels satisfying, meaningful connections with other people, all that stuff.
And what really strikes me is how tied it is to earth care. If the earth is thriving, it naturally provides so much of what people need.
They're totally interdependent. You can't really do one without the other.
Okay, so earth care, people care. What's the third one?
The third one is redistribute surplus, sometimes called fair share, and this is the action piece.
Action piece? How so?
Well, it says it's not enough to just feel like you care. You actually have to do something. It means consciously giving away any surplus you have, could be time, money, energy.
Towards supporting the first two ethics.
Exactly, towards earth care and people care. It starts with really looking at your own needs.
So you can then consciously set aside resources.
Right. It's the mechanism, really, that makes sure earth care and people care aren't just nice ideas floating around. They become real, lived.
So the insight is active participation. Sharing is key to making sustainability work.
Yeah, absolutely. Acknowledging we're all connected. If you've got more than you need, the ethical move is to channel it back into the system, the planet, and the people.
Okay, and underpinning all three of these, Mollison had something called the Prime Directive. Sounds important.
It is. It's very direct. He stated it as, the only ethical decision is to take responsibility for our own existence and that of our children's.
Wow, that's dark.
It really grounds the whole thing, puts the onus right on us, me, you, everyone listening. Take responsibility for yourself and for the future.
Personal accountability is the bedrock.
Yeah.
That's powerful. So these ethics, they're not just philosophical.
Right. They actually guide how we should...
Oh, absolutely. They have very practical implications. Take the law of return.
Law of return.
Simple concept, but deep, basically. Whatever you take, you have to give something back.
You use it, you pay for it.
Kind of. Mollison said the user must pay. Nature demands a return for every gift, every resource we use.
Makes sense. You take nutrients from the soil.
You got to put them back, or the soil gets depleted. You pollute the water.
You lose the resource.
Right.
Right. So we need to see it less as an endless vending machine and more as a relationship where extraction has a cost.
Exactly. A cost we need to address. We have to close the loop. Okay, then there's this other principle, withhold growth. That sounds countercultural, to say the least. Our whole economy seems built on growth.
And Mollison was really strong on this. He called growth at any cost an outmoded and discredited concept.
Strong words.
He even compared its destructive potential to war. His argument was that this relentless drive for more, it's eating up our present, sure, but worse, it's wrecking the world our kids will inherit. So the ethical response is to actively stop supporting systems that drive that kind of destructive growth. Stop investing in things that harm us in the long run.
It's a fundamental challenge to the whole paradigm of endless economic expansion, prioritizing sustainability instead. And
This is the core insight, yeah.
this leads into a specific policy of resource management. What's that about?
It basically lays out things we should just stop using. Resources that permanently damage the ability of sustainable resources to regenerate.
Okay, like what? Give me examples.
Things like pollutants that just hang around in soil and water forever. Persistent poisons that build up, radioactive stuff, obviously.
Right.
But also things like paving over huge areas with concrete and highways that messes up water cycles, and dumping raw sewage from cities straight into the sea destroys marine life.
So the insight is recognizing the long-term, maybe irreversible damage these things cause.
Exactly. These aren't just suggestions. He framed them as necessary boundaries for a responsible way of living.
Okay, that covers resource management. What about ethics for how we interact with natural systems directly?
Good question. First one there is minimize footprint.
Use less land.
Essentially, yes. Use the least amount of land needed for our own existence. Why? To leave more room, more resources for all the other species out there.
How do we do that?
Well, one key way Mollison highlighted is setting up intensive plant systems for our own needs. Concentrate our impact in well-designed areas, basically.
Be efficient with the space we do use makes sense. Then there's conserve, which sounds strong.
It is. He called for implacable and uncompromising opposition to further disturbance of any remaining natural forests or intact ecosystems.
Like draw a line in the sand, protect what's left no matter what.
That's the idea. Recognizing the incredible value and footprint of the environment and the fragility of those wild places. The key insight is just. We have to protect what undisturbed nature is still here.
A powerful commitment. But it's not just about stopping harm, is it? There's an active part to it.
Right, rehabilitate. This one says we need to actively, energetically work to restore damaged ecosystems, bring them back to a stable, healthy state.
So don't just stop digging the hole, start filling it back in.
Exactly, it's about healing the wounds. We have an ethical duty to actively repair the damage we've done.
Okay, so conserve is protect what's pristine, rehabilitate is fix what's broken, and there's also preserve. How's that different?
Preserve focuses specifically on creating refuges, sanctuaries, protected areas for rare or threatened plants and animals.
Actively setting aside safe havens.
Yeah, to ensure their survival long term. Intentional protection for the vulnerable ones.
Got it. And the last one here, avoid invasive species.
Pretty straightforward, this one. Prioritize using plants and animals that are native to your area.
Or the ones that are known to play nice with the local ecosystem.
Exactly. Ones that are naturalized and beneficial. The big risk is thoughtlessly introducing something new that then throws the whole natural balance out of whack.
So be really careful about what you bring into an environment. Thoughtful species selection is key.
You got it.
Wow. Okay, that's a really thorough ethical grounding. Covers our responsibility to the planet, to each other, how we use resources, how we treat ecosystems.
It's comprehensive.
So now that we've got the why, let's switch gears to the how, the design principles.
Right, the practical tools. Mollison laid out 18 key principles for design. We can group them to make them a bit easier to digest.
Okay, where should we start?
Let's start with energy. There are 3 main energy principles. First is a principle of energy inputs.
Energy, obviously crucial. What's the permaculture angle?
Well, first acknowledging the sun is the big one, the primary source, driving wind, rain, biomass, everything.
Makes sense.
But it also looks at other inputs, like the energy already embodied in waste products. Things you might throw away still contain energy.
Okay, and the goal?
Is for the systems we design, our gardens, our homes, whatever, to actually produce for their own needs and for our needs too. They should be productive.
Or self-sufficient, in a way.
Leading towards that, it brings in the idea of an energy budget. Over its whole life, the system needs to produce, store, or conserve more energy than it took to build and maintain it.
So, a net energy producer.
Ideally, yes. And designed to last as long as possible with minimal upkeep. That's the goal.
Right, get more out and you put in long term. And part of this is the minimize inputs idea, a Mollisonian thing.
Yeah, very central. It stresses watching carefully, observing for a good while before you jump in and do anything.
Observe first.
Then figure out the smallest change you can make that will have the biggest positive impact. Be strategic. Don't waste effort or resources.
Work smart, not hard.
Exactly. And that ties into the conservation part of it. Focus your energy where it really counts. Understand the natural cycles, work with them, and you won't need as many external inputs. So observe, be strategic.
Align with nature. Great. What's the second energy principle?
Principle of energy cycling. This is
Huge. Cycling like recycling.
kind of, but broader. The core idea is stopping nutrients and energy from just flowing out of your system and being lost.
Okay, instead?
Instead, turn those flows into cycles within the system. Close the loops. Mollison argued every time you manage to cycle something, you increase the system's yield and resilience.
More loops, more abundance.
Basically, yeah. Support the natural cycles. Water, carbon, nitrogen, and your system becomes more self-sustaining, less waste, more efficiency.
Okay, give me some real-world examples of energy cycling.
Sure, building small dams or swales on sloping land to catch and hold rainwater, that's cycling water.
Right.
Composting kitchen scraps, cycling nutrients, using old newspaper as mulch, cycling carbon and suppressing weeds.
Okay.
Using animal manure for biogas or just putting it back on the garden. Directing grey water from your house, properly treated of course, onto your garden. Harvesting rainwater off your roof.
Yeah.
Planting green manures, crops you grow just to chop down and feed the soil, even just letting leaves mulch under trees. It's all cycling.
It's that whole 5 R's idea too, isn't it? Resist, reduce, reuse, recycle, recover?
Exactly. Catch it, store it, use it before it degrades and escapes the system.
It's a mindset of seeing value everywhere, even in waste. Okay, third energy principle, efficiency.
Yep, principle of energy efficiency. This is all about smart placement, where you put things in your design.
Placement, how so?
Mollison talked about zones and sectors. Zones is about proximity, things you use or visit often. Put them close to the center of activity, usually your house.
Like herbs near the kitchen door.
Exactly. Things you visit rarely, further away. It just saves you walking, saves energy, saves time. Placement reduces effort.
Makes intuitive sense. What about sectors?
Sectors are about managing the outside energies flowing through your site. Wild energies, you could say.
Wild energies like...
Sun path, light prevailing wind, wildfire risk, how water flows across the land, flood potential, stuff like that.
Okay, so you map those out.
You observe them, yeah. Then you position things to either take advantage of them, like orienting a house for passive solar gain, or to protect from them, like planting a windbreak to shelter a garden.
Working with those flows.
Right, and using slope too. Putting dams uphill, water tanks uphill, using gravity for drainage. Working with the landscape, not fighting it.
Again, work smart, not hard. Designed for laziness, almost.
That's a good way to put it. Let the design do the work. Understanding those external energies lets you design in harmony with them.
Okay, so those are the energy principles. Input, cycling, efficiency. Great. S1, yeah.
Now, what about functional design? I think you said there were 4.
That's right, stability.
How do you get that in design? Just lots of different things.
Not just that, it's more sophisticated. True stability doesn't just come from having, say, 100 different types of plants. It comes from the connections between them.
The relationship.
Yeah, the beneficial interactions. How many ways do the different parts support each other? Think of it like a web. The more strands connecting everything, the stronger it is. Stability comes from that interconnectedness.
Okay, so how do you build those connections?
Well, companion planting is one classic example, putting plants together that help each other out.
Like basil and tomatoes. One repels pests from the other.
That's the idea. Though, the science on some specific pairs is mixed, but the principle holds foster beneficial interactions.
And it goes beyond just pairs of plants.
Oh yeah, the concept of guilds is key here. A guild is like a little community built around a central element.
A fruit tree guild. What's in it?
You might have legumes fixing nitrogen in the soil for the tree, ground covers to keep weeds down and hold moisture, maybe some comfrey you can chop for mulch, climbing beans using the tree as support, herbs nearby to attract beneficial insects or repel pests.
So a whole team working together.
Exactly. Mollison even compared it to the brain intelligence. It isn't just the number of neurons, it's the connections between them, building that network.
That's a great analogy. Okay, stability through connections. What's the next functional principle?
Principle of multifunctionality. This one's about efficiency again.
Multifunctionality. Everything does more than one job.
Ideally, yes. Each element in your system should serve as many functions as possible. Don't think this tree is just for apples. Think, what else can this tree do?
Right. Maximize the utility of each piece.
Precisely.
You give a strong example. You mentioned trees.
Trees are perfect. Okay, obvious function: products, fruit, nuts, timber, firewood, maybe mulch. But then environmental functions: windbreak, fire retardant maybe, erosion control, habitat for birds and insects, shade, soil building, cycling nutrients from deep down, and structural uses. Maybe it's a privacy screen, or you grow vines up it like a trellis. So one element, the tree, is doing maybe 10 different jobs if you place it well.
That's incredibly efficient. Okay, what's next?
Principle of support. This is about redundancy, backup systems.
Support, meaning that every really important function in your system should be supported by multiple elements. Don't rely on just one thing for something critical.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Resilience comes from having multiple ways to meet essential needs.
Okay, examples like for water.
Yeah, good one. Abiotic example, maybe your main water is town supply.
Okay.
But you back it up with rainwater tanks, maybe a bore or a well if possible, even a pond. A swimming pool could even be emergency water storage in a pinch. Multiple sources.
Got it. What about a living example? Biotic. Okay, livestock. Just feed pellets, let them forage, give them scraps. S1, media group, chickens being fed scraps, diverse chicken feed sources at stock at distribute _ equally. Feed, you don't just rely on buying pellets, you have pasture, maybe annual and perennial mix. You might also grow fodder trees they can eat. Maybe you collect vegetable scraps. Diverse feed sources make your animals and your system more resilient. Same for chickens. Don't.
Right. Every vital function needs multiple supports. That builds robustness, prevents single points of failure, makes total sense. And the last functional design principle, relative location.
Yes, principle of relative location. This one is about placing things so that the outputs of one element meet the needs of another element nearby.
Creating connections again, but specifically about inputs and output.
Exactly. Setting up relationships where one thing's waste is another thing's food, essentially. It's about resource efficiency through smart placement. How do you figure that out? Sounds complex.
Well, Mollison suggested doing a functional analysis. He's did a simple framework. PIN. Positive. Interesting. Negative. Yeah. For each thing you want to include a chicken coop, a compost bin, a pond put. You list its positive outputs. Eggs, manure, compost, water storage. Its interesting characteristics and its negative aspects or needs. Smell, needs food and water. Needs filling, potential for pests.
Okay.
Then you try to place things so the positives feed the needs and the negatives are mitigated. Put the chicken coop uphill from the garden bed so you can easily wash manure down as fertilizer. Put the compost bin near the kitchen and the garden. Stuff like that.
So you're designing the flows between elements, making it functional and self-regulating.
That's the goal. A system where components work together smoothly.
Okay, that wraps up functional design. Now on to the principles drawn from nature and ecology. 5 of these. First is the principle of biological resource use.
Using living things to do the work.
Pretty much. Prioritize biological solutions using plants, animals, microbes over just reaching for a machine or a chemical spray. Mollison had a great line. Everything gardens or has an effect on its environment. It's about recognizing and harnessing those natural effects. Nature provides elegant solutions if we just look.
So how does that look in practice?
Well, animal tractor systems are a good example, using chickens to scratch and weed an area before planting, pigs to turn over soil, ducks for slug control.
Using their natural behaviors.
Exactly. Or biological fertilizer compost, manure, growing legumes that fix nitrogen right in the soil, green manures, mulches feeding the soil life.
Instead of synthetic fertilizers.
Right, and biological pest control, planting things that attract beneficial insects that eat pests, creating habitats for predators like birds or spiders, maybe using plant-based sprays if needed, using life to manage life.
Tapping into nature's own toolkit. Okay, next ecological principle, diversity.
Yes, principle of diversity. The aim here is to include as much variety as many different species and elements as the system can reasonably support and maintain.
Why diversity? What's the benefit?
Think about a rainforest versus a single crop farm field. Which one is more resilient, more stable?
The rainforest, obviously.
Right. High diversity ecosystems handle disturbance better. They adapt better. The insight is diversity builds resilience and stability in our design systems too.
So what does that look like in a permaculture garden?
It means more microhabitats, more niches for different things to live, better support for beneficial predators, more efficient use of resources because different plants have different needs and root depths. It's insurance. If one crop fails, you have others.
So planting lots of different things, maybe using heritage seeds for more variety?
Definitely. And thinking beyond just crops, different support plants, insectary plants, incorporating animals. Mollison even suggested this applies to life. Generally, embracing diversity makes our whole lifestyle more.
Variety isn't just nice, it's strategic.
Okay, principle 3 here, edge exploitation sounds intriguing.
It is. Edges or ecotones are where two different ecosystems meet, like where a forest meets a meadow or land meets water. So what ecologists find is that these edges are often more productive and have more species than either of the ecosystems on their own. There's an overlap, more resources, more niches right there at the boundary.
Oh, interesting. So permaculture tries to create more edges, exactly. Maximize the edge effect within our designs to boost productivity, and diversity edges are zones of high activity. How do you do that in the garden? You can't just make a forest meet a meadow in your backyard. No, but you can use shapes. Think of a keyhole garden bed or a mandala garden with its scalloped edges. Lots of curves that creates way more edge than a simple square bed of the same size.
Same area I see, like a coastline is longer than a straight line between two.
Exactly. Herb spirals are another great example, maximizing edge and different microclimates in a small space. Mollison even connected this to society, saying creativity often sparks at the edges where different fields or cultures meet.
That's a cool thought. Okay, edge effect. What's the fourth ecological principle?
Intensification. This is about getting a lot out of a small space.
Small-scale intensive systems.
Right, using techniques like stacking and using niches effectively.
Stacking, like bunk beds for plants.
Kind of. Plant stacking means using vertical layers like in a forest. You have tall canopy trees, smaller understory trees, shrubs, herbaceous layer, ground covers, root crops, vines climbing up, filling all the vertical states.
I'll check it in.
Yeah, and then there's time stacking. Planting your next crop before the first one is finished, relay cropping, getting multiple yields from the same space in one season.
Using time efficiently too. What about niches?
Filling all the available niches. Niches in space, using every little...
Like birds migrating to use resources at just the right time.
Exactly. It's about finding or creating a niche for everything, including yourself, and intensifying productivity within that niche. Small, well-designed spaces can be incredibly productive.
Maximize output by using space and time creatively.
Got it. And the last ecological one, accelerated succession.
Right. This is about working with the natural tendency of ecosystems to change and mature over time, but speeding it up and guiding it.
Succession, like how a bare field eventually becomes a forest.
Exactly. That natural progression. Instead of just letting it happen slowly or fighting it by constantly weeding, you actively steer it.
How?
You might use existing weeds as pioneer plants to build soil.
Yeah, you introduce other pioneers, especially soil improvers like legumes. You rapidly build organic matter with mulch and compost, and you start introducing the species you actually want, the fruit trees, the berry bushes, earlier than they might arrive naturally, protecting them while the system develops.
Giving nature a helping hand in the direction you want it to go.
Basically, yes, Holmgren called it pulsing, sometimes using strategic disturbance like grazing or even fire very carefully to boost fertility at certain stages. It's about working with life forces to transform an area quickly. We can work with ecological processes to rapidly improve land. Okay, that covers the ecological principles. That brings us to the last group, the attitudinal principles. Yep. These are more about mindset philosophy. First is the principle of natural forces, another core Mollisonian idea.
Working with nature, not against it.
That's the heart of it. Designing in collaboration with natural elements and processes, not trying to dominate or control.
How did Mollison put it?
He said permaculture is a philosophy of working with rather than against nature, of protracted and thoughtful observation rather than protracted and thoughtless labor. Looking at all the functions of things, not just one product.
Thoughtful observation again?
Yeah, he argued that designing with nature creates landscapes that naturally conserve energy, recycle waste, and make resources abundant. Working with nature is just more effective and sustainable.
Examples of working with natural forces?
Using natural airflow, convection to cool the building instead of just relying on AC. Planting native species that are already adapted, need less water, less fuss. If you're in a windy spot, maybe use a windmill for energy or design windbreaks carefully, rather than just seeing wind as a problem.
Identify the forces, work with them like a bird using an updraft.
Perfect analogy. Effortless when you're aligned with the flow.
Okay, next attitudinal principle, yield.
The principle on yield, and this is a bold. The yield of a system is theoretically unlimited.
Unlimited? That sounds optimistic. How?
It challenges the idea of scarcity. It says that with intelligent design, creativity, and information, there's really no end to the potential yields a system can produce. It's about thinking broadly about what yield even means.
Not just apples or carrots.
Exactly. How do you get continuous, abundant yields over time? Mollison listed ways. Use early, mid, and late season varieties of crops. Plant the same crop in slightly different spots with different sun exposure to stagger harvest. Choose varieties known to produce for a long time. Increase diversity, harvest leaves, fruits, seeds, roots all year round. Grow things that store themselves like potatoes, sweet potatoes, nuts.
Preservation techniques too.
Absolutely. Drying, canning, fermenting. Trading with neighbors who have different things growing or live at different altitudes. It's about information and imagination. Mollison said the only limit is in the limit of the information and the imagination of the designer.
So abundance is possible through smart design and diverse strategies. Okay, next, cooperation.
Yes, principle of cooperation. This emphasizes that working together, collaboration is the foundation of healthy living systems, and it's crucial for our future survival.
As opposed to competition.
Well, Mollison felt Western thinking had overplayed competition, maybe misinterpreting Darwin. Survival of the fittest really means best adapted to the environment, which often involves cooperation.
Right, like symbiotic relationships.
Exactly. Permaculture came out of that ecological thinking in the 60s and 70s, seeing the interconnectedness. So it pushes for integrating different fields, working together, aiming for self-reliance within a community, not rugged individualism, playing well with others, basically. Cooperation is just a more powerful, sustainable force.
Shifting from competition to collaboration.
Got it.
Fourth attitude, positivity.
Ah, yes, another fantastic Mollisonian principle. The problem is this, the problem is the solution. Everything works both ways.
The problem is the solution. How does that work?
It's about perspective. How you see a situation determines if it's an advantage or a disadvantage. Mollison said something like, everything is a positive resource. We just have to figure out how to use it that way.
So challenges are actually opportunities, or resources in disguise.
That's the key insight. Reframe the problem. Okay, you have snails eating your lettuce. Problem? Or is the problem that you have a duck deficiency? Ducks love snails. Solution S1, media group, person explaining garden solutions, permaculture garden with diverse elements. Dark stock I distribute equally, exactly.
Yeah.
Or weeds? Problem. Or are they telling you something about your soil? Can you use them for mulch? Feed them to chickens? Suddenly, they're a resource. Treat problems as elements you can incorporate positively into the design.
Actively reframe. Look for the hidden use. I like that. Okay, final attitudinal principle, proximity.
Yes, the proximity principle. Simple statement. Grow food where people live. Bring food production back to the city.
Making cities more self-sufficient.
That was Mollison's vision. Using permaculture to retrofit suburbs and cities, make them produce food, save energy, generate energy. Localizing food production enhances resilience and community.
Can we do that now? No, most people don't have big yards.
Intensive methods in small spaces.
Yeah.
Balcony gardens, rooftop gardens, community gardens are huge. Supporting your local farmers at markets, planting edible landscapes on public land verges, parks, even guerrilla gardening.
And just being aware of food miles, where stuff comes from.
Yeah, prioritizing local. The goal is to shrink the distance between farm and plate, turn our living spaces back into productive gardens.
Bringing production home makes sense.
Yeah.
And that leads to the action principle. You mentioned that ties it all together.
Absolutely vital, the action principle. It says information is the potential critical resource. It becomes a resource only when obtained and acted upon.
Knowledge isn't enough. You have to use it.
Precisely. Mollison's famous line here was, demonstration is authority. Show, don't just tell. Set up examples.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah, and don't get stuck just gathering information forever. Analysis paralysis. Start with what you know, even if it's small, plant something. Build